Hi, I'm Betsy. Welcome back to my kitchen. So today when I was deciding what I wanted to make, I was flipping through my books and I flipped right past chocolate chip cookies because in my opinion, that's baking 101 and why would anyone want to watch that? But then it dawned on me, I don't even know how or why I ended up on my chocolate chip cookie recipe. I just know I really like it. So I immediately went to the kitchen and I started doing some experiments to see why I do what I do and if it really was the best chocolate chip cookie. So what I started with was thinking, I use salted butter and I use softened salted butter. I set it out on my counter and let it soften nicely before I make the dough. But I know people who melt the butter, and my sister has always used margarine in her cookies, and people like them. So I made a variety of cookies to see exactly what each one would do, to see if my recipe really is the one I like the best. So I started with my traditional softened butter. Softened butter on the counter for 2 to 3 hours and made the dough. And I baked them off fresh. I did not freeze the dough. And they turned out fantastic, exactly like I would expect. I also froze that exact same dough to see if that made any difference. Turns out it doesn't make a difference at all. Those cookies end up exactly how I like them. Just the perfect amount of cakey, a little crunchy on the outside. That's what I prefer. But I know in a pinch, sometimes there's no time to soften butter, so people melt the butter. So I tried that. And what you end up with is a nice cookie. It's very dense. It's really cakey because the butter's already melted before you're baking it. Now, it also looks really good because the chocolate chips come straight to the top because there's no time for the leavening to happen because the butter's already melted. But that's one option. I also froze that dough to see if that would make a difference. It actually does make a difference. It makes them a little more consistent. So if that's what you end up doing, I would recommend freezing them. I also then went to try my sister's version with margarine. And those cookies do end up perfect little soldiers. They look very uniform, very nice. They're very, very cakey, and I will say I don't care for the taste. I prefer butter. So I went through my experiment only to realize that I really like my chocolate chip cookies, so I'm going to show you how I make them. I start with softened butter, and like I said, I set it on the counter for 2 to 3 hours. It's the perfect amount of soft by that point. And I use salted butter. I really like the taste of salted butter. I know you'll hear a lot of recipes that say don't add salted butter. It's a personal preference and I like it. Then I'm going to add 3/4 cups of sugar. And 3/4 cups of brown sugar. And for that, I'm just packing it right in there. Once you get the butter and sugar in the bowl, you're going to mix them up. What you're looking for is for them to be nicely blended, everything creamed together nicely. Once I have that, I'm going to add 2 eggs. Once that's blended, we're going to add some more dry ingredients. We have a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla. Once that's blended, we're going to add some flour. 2 1/4 cups of flour. All I'm doing is shaking it off to make it level. I don't pack it down, I don't pound it on the counter, just getting it nice and loosely into the cup. And now I don't want to undermix or overmix this, so what I'm looking for is everything to be mixed in there, and once it looks consistent, I might give it 10 swirls of the mixer and then I'm done. Once I have that nice and mixed, I just add chocolate chips, 1 1/4 cup. I'm just trying to get those evenly mixed in there. And once that's done, I'm going to get them all balled up. I'm a big fan of doing the cookie dough well in advance and freezing them. so that whenever I want cookies, I'm 30 minutes away. So I will just make all little balls of this cookie dough. I will fill this entire sheet up. So once I've got these all balled up, I'm going to take them down to the freezer. Tomorrow or the next day I'm going to go down there with a Ziploc bag. I'm going to put them all in there and date it. And then the next time I need cookies, I'm going to pop that oven on to 350. I'm going to go downstairs, grab whatever number of balls of cookie dough I need, come up here. It takes about 15 minutes for my oven to warm up. Then I'm going to put the cookies, they'll have thawed enough, put them in the oven, take 15 minutes at 350 degrees, and from start to finish, 30 minutes, I'm going to have fresh baked cookies. So this is them. This is my version of the chocolate chip cookie. I hope you find them as easy as I do to make. I hope you make them ahead of time like I do, stick them in the freezer, and I hope the next time someone stops over, you're 30 minutes away from great cookies. Enjoy.